Hi, I'm Julian Rixon. This is a Tibetan Singing Bowl, and this is what I use to work with Tibetan Singing Bowl Therapy, working on the chakras and the meridians and the energy system of the body to produce a range of therapeutic effects from relaxation through to easing aches and strains, muscle pains, and a whole range of other complaints. With the bowls, you have 7 bowls, and there's one for each of the chakras. And within the bowls, the way they're made is with 7 different metals as well, so that's one metal that actually correlates with each chakra. So each of the chakras resonates at a different frequency, and we have one bowl for each one of the chakras, and those bowls will resonate in sympathy with the chakras. So if there's an imbalance, when you ring a bowl in the vicinity of the chakra, it rings in a different way, and so you can identify where there are imbalances and actually work on those imbalances by getting the chakra and the bowls to sympathise with each other and to actually start addressing the balance by resonating at the same frequency. So I started doing my own private research, and I read a few books. There's very limited literature around about the Tibetan singing bowls, but what there was I read, and I started using and just experimenting with different approaches which would work with the children. And to be honest, the response from the children was so positive that I thought this is really worth actually going to source and finding out. You can go to Germany, you can go to Poland, I could have gone to Britain and I could have trained there. But actually I decided I wanted to have much more of the culture. I've always been very interested in yoga, I've been very interested in developing a spiritual life, and so I really wanted to combine it with the opportunity of travelling to the area where this originates. So I went to Nepal and I spent some time with the Tibetan in Kathmandu and actually practiced the bowls with this guy, which was meditating, a bit of tuition and practicing with a host Nepali family. So when you put together a set of 7 bowls, you actually have to work with bowls which resonate with you and which resonate with each other. So you can buy 7 bowls off the internet, no problem at all, but unless you go to a place where there are hundreds of bowls to choose from and you play different combinations, it's very hard to know what's going to work for you. So I spent a few days with this guy, the Tibetan guy, Ram Shresha, and we sat there playing bowls, and it was quite a surreal experience because I'd be playing these different combinations of bowls and he'd be sitting there just meditating, and it was like something out of the Karate Kid or something like that, you know. And then he'd give me his judgment at the end of it. So I'd finish playing, the sound of the bowls would fade away, and then he would just kind of say, I think we have a good combination. So the way you would use a bowl is one of a number of different ways. You can strike it on the outside, so you'll hear the bowl ringing, so and if you want to direct the energy towards someone, so if you have the bowl near to the body or in contact with the body, you can actually use it to actually make a slightly different sound. And if you can hear, there's always 2 sounds there, so there's a low sound and a high sound. So you have the basic sound and the harmonic on top, which means that you can create the flow of energy as well. And that means that between the 2 there's a meditation you can do. So you actually strike the bowl. Then you can hear the harmonic much more powerfully as the energy starts to be transmitted between the 2. So the notes, the higher note, you have the bass note and the harmonic. The harmonic starts to be increased, it's amplified as the energy flows at an increased rate between yourself and the bowl. And that's the basic principle of the 2 organs, you know, the bowl and the humans actually resonating in harmony with each other. It clears your head, it's just a wonderful calm way of starting the day. And then it actually starts to hum, and you feel the energy building up, and as the energy builds, the sound becomes harsher, but you can feel the vibrations on the body. And you sense that as the energy grows, you get to a point where it's time to let the flow come off. It's like a planet, and it comes back to the orbit of the bowl, and then continues with the energy. And then the idea is the sound comes from nothing. It resonates, it lives, and when it reaches appropriate energy, climaxes goes away, and then the sound dissipates to nothing again. It's like a reflection of life. Historically, it's been used by Buddhist monks as a daily health regime. They'd use it to maintain health. It wouldn't be something you turn to when you're ill. But of course, in our weird warped Western way, it's kind of the last stop on the line. It's something when nothing else has worked, then we'll turn to alternative or complementary therapies. So when you look at it in that light, there's heaps of scientific research that's gone into this kind of area now, into the idea of energy fields in the body. And actually what we're finding is that vibration, the idea that we're molecular structures, the idea that we can alter our molecular structure with sound and vibration is gathering some momentum in the scientific world. And if you look at writers like Caroline Mass and you look at the work she's doing, it's all to do with balancing the chakras, to do with the fact that physical ailments come from emotional imbalances. So people are turning to the more traditional Eastern therapies as a way of not only an alternative to Western medicine, but as also to complement it as well. Okay, so the question, does it work, is an interesting question, because I think a lot of that actually depends on how much responsibility you take for your own healing as well, because with complementary healing, it's very much a case of taking an active part in your healing, which means that you're going to be meditating, you're going to be looking at your diet, you're going to be looking at your health and exercise regime, you're going to be looking at your mental health. I personally have worked with people who have back problems, shoulder problems, digestive problems, hair problems, sleeping. Now, so far the feedback has been very, very good, and the majority of people I've actually worked on have said to me that they've improved sleep patterns, they've had an easing of the pain. There are obviously things which are going to take more attention, they're going to need more attention, which means that if someone wants general relaxation, then the bowls are going to work on a very fundamental level because the sound is soothing. But then you combine that with the fact that they're working on the different chakras and the different vibrations, you're immersed in this field of vibrating energy, then that means that you're bound to be relaxed. So 1 or 2 sessions of that is going to relax you. If you have a chronic problem, like if you have chronic pain in joints, 1 session is not going to be enough for that. But it is shown, I mean, there have been studies in science now showing that these bowls actually produce something called the Faraday wave. And the Faraday wave means that it actually changes the molecular structure of physical objects. Now science is using this to work on things like space travel and to work on new fuel injection systems. They're using the same technology that they've discovered from the waves that these bowls produce in current scientific projects. Now that means that if we're using sonic massage in the NHS or the health service here, there's got to be some valid use of a physical vibration coming from bowls which are actually going to be directly in contact with muscles or joints. So yeah, I mean there's obviously cases on a longer running historical basis which have shown that the bowls work, but on a more general basis and on the short term I've seen vast improvements in the people that I've seen, yeah.